Spokane listens when business talks. Welcome to Business Talks, the region's only local business talk show with your host, Ryan McNeice. Business Talks is brought to you by our friends at STCU and Well Dressed Walrus. Now, let's get down to business with Business Talks.
Welcome to Business Talks. I'm Ryan McNeice, and we're here in the studio with both Phil Harrison and Jerid Keefer. Phil of the YMCA's Camp Goodtimes and Jerid of the Community Cancer Fund. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. You both have a lot going on this summer, respectively. Jerid, you have a fundraiser coming up here in July. And Phil, you're already in the throes of camp. Literally came from camp for this interview.
Yep. We started our first day of camp on Sunday for traditional camp, and just been moving and grooving, having a great time up there. We've enjoyed the sunshine.
Give us a background on the unique opportunities for Camp Goodtimes at Camp Reed, and how you've really specialized in the opportunities for children that are challenged with cancer and their families.
Yeah, I think the best thing we do is we just try to make it a special week for kids. We really try to deliver an experience that, where we say it's a time to be a kid. Sometimes these kids have spent months on end in the hospital, and we really make sure that, they can be worry-free. So we have a full, medical staff, nurses out there who work in the pediatric oncology wing. So a lot of the kids know them, and just try to deliver the best experience we can, and just making them feel welcome.
And I think some of the oncology medical staff, is it through Providence?
Yes.
I thought that was my understanding.
Yep.
Again, though, I was very interested in this concept, because what a unique opportunity, as you said, Phil, where these kids have been through extreme trauma, as well as their family, siblings. And I thought it was unique that the camp is also open to siblings of kids struggling with cancer.
Yeah, that's one of the great things we also offer is they can bring a friend or a family member. A lot of times they'll bring a brother or sister with them too, so they can also share that experience. We go through a training the first night. We start on Monday morning, but the Sunday evening the staff comes in, and we go to a little more hands-on training with the staff, working with these kids. And one of the things we also talk about is the siblings of the kids. They're also affected by the situation. So maybe they have not had the most attention in the months to come. So we also want to make sure that they also get that same experience and can enjoy the fun of being a kid.
What are some of the events that the traditional camp as well as Camp Goodtimes may be very, very similar in activities, but what are some of those activities that the kids are involved in throughout the week?
So we're a traditional-based summer camp, so we have everything you could imagine: the waterfront, sports, arts and crafts, archery, drama and dance. So we offer all those things also to Camp Goodtimes, because we also want to deliver an experience that they would get if they were coming to traditional camp. At Camp Goodtimes, we have a lot of great volunteers and a lot of great folks who reach out and want to do something special. So we have fishing that comes out, and they teach the kids to fish, and it's a really awesome site. We'll have boats out on the lake, and we have a big dock, and we put a canopy on it, and so they get to enjoy just fishing on the lake. We have different arts and crafts projects that come through. I know last year they did kind of a painting, and they did some GAC, and so
yeah, kids love the GAC.
Oh yes, they do. And when you didn't know what was going on, and then it's like, oh, they're doing GAC, and you see their faces, and you're like, okay, this is awesome.
That station all of a sudden becomes one of the most crowded.
They do flock to it, and so.
And I think you'd indicated that there are both traditional week-long stay for the week as well as day camp opportunities as well.
Yes. So sometimes we also have kids who are currently going through treatment, and so sometimes staying at camp is
not possible.
Not possible, and so we can aid in transportation that way too. We work with families as best as possible to make sure that, like we said, kids can get out to camp. So we do have kids who get dropped off.
That's impressive, though. So even making that commute, maybe from the oncology department and or hospital, but making the commute out to camp on a daily basis.
Yeah, so we really try to work with families and help them out so they can get to camp.
Well, and it appeared to me that the confidence level that you can see in the literature for families that are struggling with this, I think there'd be a certain amount of, as you said, in terms of, is there medical staff, is my child going to be safe during this week, whether it be for the day or for the week? And it really felt like that's one of the primary goals, is to be in a safe environment during these challenges, but get these traditional experiences of Camp Reed.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a great medical staff that comes out, and like I mentioned, they know all of these kids too, which is really helpful in that familiarity with them.
Some of them might know some of the staff already.
Yes, and they they play
people.
a part in getting some of these kids out to camp. Hey, have you heard about Camp Goodtimes before? You should really come out. It'd be a great experience. And then in knowing the kids, they also help with knowing their levels, and if hey, maybe it's a time, let's slow it down a little bit and take a little break. So they also play a helpful part in the programming of it.
Well, it's impressive. Jerid, tell me how the nexus between the Community Cancer Fund and the importance of obviously the contributions that have come from our community and beyond that make some of these activities or make the whole camp essentially possible. Tell me how that
well, it's hard to tell the story of the Community Cancer Fund without talking about Camp Goodtimes. The Community Cancer Fund, we founded it in 2014, but this group supported Camp Goodtimes all the way back. I think we've been supporting Camp Goodtimes going on 15, 16 years.
Okay.
So the group that came together and put together the Community Cancer Fund was largely behind the Coaches versus Cancer endeavors.
Okay.
With Mark and Marcy Few, Gonzaga University, and going all the way back to 2002.
Okay.
And
so there's significant history there and collaboration.
So this camp, back to when we were Coaches versus Cancer, I mean, it always meant a lot to us, and it was something that we could help out with that meant a lot, as Phil was talking about, for these kids, their siblings, and I even say even the parents too.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, to be able to go through what these families go through, but then to see your child be able to go and enjoy a week of camp like any normal kid.
Right.
So I think that there's the impact there, and fast forward 2002, 2000, I'm going to say about 13, we had raised about, I think, close to $2 million to support camp over that time. And the decision was made nationwide to discontinue camps like this.
Really? What was the reasoning for that?
Well, and I give the credit to the American Cancer Society. Their primary focus is research, and so I think the decision was made nationwide that
let's put our focus on that.
Yeah, put our focus on research, and credit to the American Cancer Society. They worked with us to help continue camp here and transfer the ownership of camp over to the YMCA and Camp Reed. And I think at that point,
what was the transit or the timing of that? What year was the actual transition to the YMCA taking ownership?
The first year of Camp Goodtimes at Camp Reed was 2014.
Okay.
And so, I think wanting to see Camp Goodtimes continue, proud to sit here today and say out of the 200 camps, it's one of 6 in the country that still remain.
That's actually that's impressive.
And so, out of a need and a want, and just really to make sure that Camp Goodtimes continued with the funding that it needed, and continuing to put our best foot forward on a local level, we founded the Community Cancer Fund, and very much focused on local, but also trying to facilitate families, cancer patients, the organizations that serve them on a day-to-day basis. And research is great, we're going to find a cure because of the work of organizations like the American Cancer Society. But there is such a need here on a local level. So many families, patients travel to our region, Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, to receive their treatments. Things like lodging, gas cards, you know, a week at camp. I mean, just things like that. Helping, you know, working with the Vista to help keep people's lights on. You know, and I mean these families and these patients, the economic struggles that come with the cancer diagnosis. If we could do anything to, you know, help ease that process, so they can just focus on, you know, the number one goal, which is just to beat the disease.
Right, the challenges that are right in front of them.
And so, yeah, I mean, we're very much focused, kind of the 4 pillars focused on is local, collaborative, innovative, and dynamic. Those were the things in 2014 with this Community Cancer Fund that we were really focused on. And, you know, I think Camp Goodtimes is unique, and the relationship with the YMCA, that it checks all those boxes.
Right, collectively.
I mean, it's local. It's a great, you know, week away for these kids and these families on or off treatment. It's collaborative. I mean, you got not only the work of the YMCA and Camp Reed and Community Cancer Fund, but the Ronald McDonald House, Providence, Ripon Foundation. I mean, collectively, you know, came together to make sure that this continued. Innovative. I mean, we talked about it. I mean, it is a normal week at camp, but kids are on and off treatment. I mean, you have an infirmary on site. I mean, it is different in that sense.
That really stood out to me, though.
Yeah, and then the fourth is dynamic, which I feel like this is about the best example you could find. I mean, you know.
And to say there's only 6 left in the United States.
Yeah, six left. But I mean, from a perspective of, you know, you think of the word dynamic and just celebrating life and every day that we have here. And cancer's serious and you know, in the battles and stuff. But the fact that these kids get to go out and be a kid for a week, and they get to do it with a friend or a sibling.
Live in the present day. And I think, Jerid, I think the piece that you've done such a good job of, the juxtaposition of the research piece, which is obviously massively critical, but the pragmatic of living day to day, kind of a carpe diem, seize the day for the family, siblings, et cetera. I think you've explained that really well. It's a two-part or multi-pronged challenge.
Yeah. So, you know, Camp Goodtimes, we set out in 2014 with the Y and Camp Reed, and wanted to make sure that not only this, you know, continued in the present, in the short term, but also the long term. And so, really, I mean, one of the first things that we focused on was establishing an endowment for, you know, it's a $3 million endowment that I'm happy to say that, you know, not only did we, you know, one of 6 camps that was saved, but, you know, at least from a financial perspective, we'll never have to worry about Camp Goodtimes not existing.
Right, in terms of it.
So in perpetuity, and that's a really, you know, considering where we are at to where we're at now, it's kind of surreal. I mean,
well, it's
a community effort. It's a lot of people coming together to make sure that this continued, and it's definitely. You know, going back to a collaborative. It's
generosity of the community.
Yeah, and everybody knows their roles, and we as a funding organization can do that because Phil and his team at the Y, you know, and Lisa Vogt and that whole group and everybody, they just do such a great job of
collective
a camp as a camp, and it's a camp. It doesn't matter who's there and what they're afflicted with, and they know their role and we know ours, and everybody just sticks to what they do well, and it seems to work great. We really appreciate the partnership.
Well, obviously it's working. Let's take a short break. I want to come back and talk about some of those fundraising opportunities and the generosity of the community. So we'll take a short break and be right back.
Welcome to Tom Sawyer Country Coffee.
Tom Sawyer Country Coffee only roasts the finest organic coffee for our signature blends. Enjoy a cup at our coffee shop and local businesses and organizations across the region.
I'm Tom Sawyer, and we choose the Pacific Northwest.
Last year alone, Avista customers saved over 53 million kilowatt hours of energy. Enough to power more than 4,000 homes for an entire year. Way to save, everyone. Way to save. Find your way to save at avistautilities.com.
What? You haven't been to the library lately? Stop in today and see that the library is more than books. Spokane County Library District facilities feature on-site technology, including Wi-Fi, computers, and printers, as well as free use of meeting rooms. The Library District offers events and programs for all ages, from story times to career development and employer classes to Social Security workshops. Our staff is well trained and happy to help. Find out more about your library at scld.org.
That's great.
Welcome back to Business Talks. We're talking about Camp Goodtimes and the Community Cancer Fund. Thank you both. At the beginning of our episode, I think we've really tried to illustrate the amazing opportunities that are happening at Goodtimes to pragmatically create opportunities for the kids to, just for maybe the smallest amount of time, a week, get away from the trials and tribulations of their life and their challenges with cancer. And Jerid, as you've indicated, the fundraising opportunities and what the Community Cancer Fund, the generosity of our community has provided, it really has been a community coming together to make this work. That you have the research part of trying to cure cancer and finding a cure, as well as those that are dealing with this on a day-to-day basis, making their lives brighter. I believe there is an event in July coming up, so opportunity for fundraising. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, our signature event is the showcase, presented by Katera out in Coeur d'Alene at the resort, the Coeur d'Alene Golf Course and Coeur d'Alene Resort Golf Course. And yeah, we've raised to date about $10 million through that event in the last 4 years. And it's a unique combination of golf and festivities and music and, again, going back to what we talked about earlier, dynamic. And we have a lot of fun and raise some money while we're at it. And then those funds that we use from the weekend go towards things like Camp Goodtimes. And our latest endeavor, we announced it last year, and are actually just getting ready to break ground on the hospitality center over at Kootenai Health on Coeur d'Alene, in Coeur d'Alene, on the Kootenai Health campus. And
that campus has grown immensely.
Yeah, no, it's a testament to the leadership they have out there. John Ness and his team, they're about as good as it gets, and John and his staff have done a great job over there over the last, to your point, the growth of that organization and their campus over the last, call it 5-10 years.
Absolutely.
has been
Visually,
phenomenal.
it's just significant.
Yeah. So we're going to be opening it's a 20-unit hospitality center over there, working with our friends at Katera to build it. And it'll be, actually, it's a model that we kind of hijacked from our friends down at OHSU.
If a model works,
right? So it'll be, I believe, the third of its kind in the country that is operated and managed by the Ronald McDonald House. It'll be half pediatrics and then half adults, and on their campus over there to, again, as we talked about, so many people traveling to our region to receive, treatments. The lodging piece of it is just it's been huge,
substantial.
And so so the funds that we use from the showcase are going towards things like the hospitality center, like Camp Goodtimes, work with our partners at the Children's Hospital and Cancer Care Northwest and now Multicare, on special needs programs and things like gas cards and medications, and some of those special needs funds. So it's we're looking forward to another great weekend. It's hard to believe it'll be our 5th showcase event, and we'll promise to have some fun. And if anybody's interested, it's showcasegolf.com.
Okay, showcasegolf.com. Okay.
and can learn a little bit more about what we're doing and what the funds go towards. And
are most of the funds coming from the Northwest, or are you seeing a percentage outside of our area?
Yeah, a large percentage of the money that the Community Cancer Fund raises actually is from donors and organizations that don't reside in the inland Northwest.
That's impressive.
And a lot of it has to do with the number of folks that call Coeur d'Alene home in the summertime. You know,
that are coming from
yeah,
elsewhere in the
and
United
Discovery
States.
Land Company has been a great partner of ours, Mike Meldman and his team. But it's the Gaza Ranch Club, and we'll be starting the showcase weekend off with some festivities there. But yeah, I mean, we have a lot of people that enjoy our region, and that showcase is a nice opportunity for them to participate and give back. And
Yeah.
you know, I think the generosity that this community shows, whether it's the Avista, Washington Trust Bank, Northern Quest Casino, the Kalispell Tribe, Rosars. I mean, we have some great local
significant,
local partners, and there's a whole lot more out there. But yeah, the fact that we can infuse some outside monies and cash into that charity pie is it's meaningful for us.
Well, it makes it work.
Yeah,
it makes it work.
Absolutely.
And then, Phil, for individuals like yourself, boots on the ground, with the ability to have these resources, you see that put to work every day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As Jerid was kind of going over some of those community partnerships, and what's great, working with Jerid, so we have a committee that every year we look at our program, we look at our scheduling, our medical side of things, and how can we constantly improve. And when talking about some of the activities, and we always try to say, hey, what can we do? What's in our realm of possibility? And also kind of think outside the box of what might be normal. And having someone like Jerid around who's like, hey, this is what we're thinking. Is there anyone who you might think could help us out? And there's a couple of things this year that we were kind of talking about, that it's like, having partnerships like that to reach out to and form bigger things and new activities for the kids is really helpful.
Yeah, and I've talked to others where Spokane is a unique community, in the Northwest as a whole, where some of that, using the traditional word of networking, if you will, but more than that is the ability for these different collaborators to reach out and create partnerships and really, as you just indicated, hey, do we know somebody that resource-wise has this contact to get this accomplished? I think Spokane really does have a pretty impressive ability to make things like that happen. It's a community that seems to have the building blocks to allow those collaborations to happen.
Yeah, and I would say it also goes both ways with just the Y. There's also partnerships that with camp, with traditional camp, that there's people who've helped us out over the years, and they said, hey, well, tell us more about Good Times. How can we help there? And one of them, Mark Starr from David's Pizza, we've worked with him for a number of years through a number of different ways for traditional camp, and he was a great asset, and he reached out and was like, hey, I would love to do something for this group. And the last year was his first year helping us out, and he's going to be doing the same, bringing his pizza truck out and doing some pizzas for the kids one night.
Too.
Oh, it's great.
It's
one of my favorite places,
Me
pizza
too.
places in Spokane. So but he's going to be coming out again, and so and Good Times has taught us a lot about our programming and how we can better ourselves and make our programming better also for traditional camp too. So it's great having it both with the Y and Community Cancer Fund. Is for boots on the ground, we learn how we can better ourselves and make ourselves better staff, and then better counselors too, and how we serve our kids.
Well, and I think Phil, you touched on a concept too that's interesting to me, that I'd imagine what you guys are doing day in and day out has changed you personally. I mean, what you are seeing and what people are experiencing, these difficulties, I'd imagine it plays a part in changing your daily lives as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I tell people that, anytime you think you're having a bad day,
think again.
Just, you take a trip up to the Children's Hospital and or go to Camp Goodtimes. And yeah, it definitely puts things in perspective, and it's also, I think, as Phil mentioned, it's a rewarding, but then I also think there's a whole lot more we can all do too. And, not trying to be all things to all people, but yet just,
do well in some
yeah,
specific
doing
areas.
our best to just bite off what we can chew, and then at that point focus on that goal of just trying to let those patients and those families and adult or pediatric just kind of focus on what it is they need to do. And I can't touch on the collaboration enough. I mean, it's we have a very lean organization, very much focused on ROI and efficiency. We don't have social workers on staff. Every organization we work with does, and so we really
Gotta be efficient with
focus
every
in
dollar.
on not having duplicative services and letting professionals do what they do, and
being creative to bring those services.
We can bring some monies to the table so Phil and his team can focus on executing a camp, and but the collaborative, I mean, you touched on it, and stealing it's a saying from Steve tomorrow, the CEO at the Y, this town loves collaborations. And I think because of that, I mean, you see things like Bloomsday, and you see things like Coop Fest, and
Our community gets behind it.
Yeah, and
I
we
love
just
it.
have this, this way of doing, things with global type impact. To have the
Absolutely.
largest
Right here in
road
Spokane.
races and the largest hoops tournament and all these different things. And
interesting on that
and,
note, you have other communities that you would think could duplicate it,
Yeah.
that actually can't. We
Yeah,
don't
it's-
necessarily need to point those particulars out, but that have said, come try to do this here, and there's something about the fabric of Spokane that it's hard to duplicate. We've actually run out of time, but I think the overall quote, "Be kind, for everyone is facing a grand battle," probably applies here. And really appreciate you both giving us a visual and an illustration of the generosity in our community and this opportunity for kids and their families. Appreciate it. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Business Talks is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Business Talks is brought to you by our friends at STCU and Well Dressed Walrus. Business Talks wishes you good business and a good day.